and particularly affected community a just return on natural resource endowments, transparency in all financial transactions, including tax obligations, royalties, and profit sharing. Furthermore, I note with serious concern the reported $37 million payment that was made by Ivanhoe to the previous government as stated in the president's cover letter of this ratification document. The Liberian people deserve to know what that money was paid for and how was it utilized by the previous government. Accountability must be the foundation of trust in public governance and will ensure that. As a member of the Senate Committee on Ways, Means, Finance and the Budget, I also caution against a premature inclusion of the subsequent $10 million payment and $50 million payments, which are tied to legislative ratification and access respectively, to the current draft national budget. Doing so will create pressure on the legislature to hastily ratify this agreement and potentially without thorough scrutiny. This must not be allowed. Meaning, the signature fee of $10 million and $50 million after ratification and access should not be encouraged to be placed in the current budget. Let it be clear that we will not rush. We will study every clause of this agreement, assess its fiscal, environmental, and social implications, and engage with all stakeholders, including local communities, civil society, and experts, to ensure that the interests of the Liberian people come first. Finally, the Community Development Fund enshrined within this document must be explicitly defined in the agreement. It should not be left open-ended and subject to the goodwill of the concessionaire, as was done with previous concessionaires like ArcelorMittal, B Mountain, and the rest of them. We must include and deserve concrete measurable commitment, such as schools, clinics, roads, and livelihood, and not vague promises. I call upon my colleagues at this legislature, civil society organizations, and the media to join in demanding transparency, fairness, and accountability. Liberia can no longer afford to enter into agreements that mortgage our future for short-term gains. The time for buy agreements are over. It must be done with due diligence to protect our people, secure a sustainable future for generations to come. Thank you. We will now take questions if there are any.
Yeah, thank you, Senator, for the information. A lot of people want to know, you're raising concerns, especially with respect to this particular document or this concession. What makes you think that there are possibilities of this thing not going the way of the Liberian people?
Well, if you listen to the statement clearly, this press conference is meant to put out there our expectation. We already have started having some concerns, especially money that was paid to the previous government of $37 million. A document that was not signed yet. We don't know what that $37 million was for. We are not accusing anybody of anything, but we need to know what that money was for. It was mentioned in the cover letter of the president, but the purpose was not stated. So we need to know and what that money was used for, whether it was placed in a consolidated account or so. And part of the concerns that we are also having, that we have seen with previous agreements, is that upon ratification, there will be $10 million given, by the company. And once the access is granted in the future now, when they sort it out with AML, then they will give another $50 million. Our concern is that money, or those monies, should not be placed in the current draft budget, because that will put the legislature under immense pressure to not do thorough investigative analysis and due diligence to some of the points that we are raising. There's a parable in Liberia that when snake bite you, you see laser tail, you can be scared. The agreement with ArcelorMittal and other companies around here, such as B. Martin and other people, they are bad. Imagine we sat here, there's a gold machine digging underground in Cape Mount and Bomi County, and the gold is not weighed in Liberia. They take the gold out of here in disproportionate amount and take it to London to weigh it, as if to say to bring a machine right here in King George or right here in Tottenham to weigh the gold will be a difficult thing to do. These are things that we want to avoid. These railroads are passing through our lands, displacing our people, depriving them of farming, depriving them of fishing, depriving them of hunting, which are all their livelihood that they depend on. When these agreements come, they must meet the demands and benefit of our people to a substantial level. That's why we are doing it preemptively, warning our colleagues so that we can dot the I and cross the T's.
Yeah, so Senator, mine is like a follow-up to my colleague. One would say, like, you have the ball in your court now, the documents before the legislature.
Yeah.
And you have the power, the president has played his part.
Yes.
And then you have the power to see how best all of these things you have raised, to address them, to correct the mistakes, maybe if
there were any
on the executive. How are you going about to lobby with your colleague to ensure that all of the T and the I's are dotted?
This is the beginning of the process. To put a statement like this up there or out there to make sure that, you know, our colleagues are guided by some of the norms that we should set. And more besides, I just returned from South Africa from attending the EPINET conference that is purposely safeguarding Africa. It's the African Parliamentary Union on unfair taxation and revenue collection, especially from extractive industry. And they have already, you know, volunteered to review these, you know, concession agreements for us free of charge by paying experts.
When our politics the new stock income, Mr. President, the Senate, the civil colleague, especially us for the rescue government. Our people say we moved. Say what? Mom, you 1 minute. No, no, that's not 1 minute. Our people say we need. I beg you, Senator Moise. I want to land on something here. Even if you get 5%, the sex that you get, they say you mean. Even if the fact, some agents say, no, maybe you're not lucky. I don't get something from that person. The general perception is a public official, especially with American people, they mean. Mr. President of the Senate, Mr. President of the Senate, more than 20,000 jobs in the private sector in the labor market that work the men was selling for that job, for those jobs, and depriving our people. We cannot be here under the regime and allow it to happen. We should not allow it to happen. In 2019, 2018, the former government paid the road, they go for military road. First time in the history of this country. In 2019, there was a by-election that contested in. The people in go for military walk on that road to go for me. They didn't vote for the government candidate because they didn't have job. We must be intentional and deliberate about providing job for our people so we can think that the listen or the president. They empower them. I submit. When our politics the new stock income, Mr. President, the Senate, the civil colleague, especially us for the rescue government. Our people say we moved. Say what? Mom, you 1 minute. No, no, that's not 1 minute. Our people say we need. I beg you, Senator Moise. I want to land on something here. Even if you get 5%, the sex that you get, they say you mean. Even if the fact, so I
have a decision of 299 packs of tramadol.
So when was the arrest made?
Well, yesterday while sitting in my office in Gaza City, I received a call from one of my agents on the field to be specific in the Yeke Park Belt. The last gate from my headquarters, along with the driver, and we proceeded with the pickup. When we got there, we saw the evidence. They were glaring, and then we took charge of the evidence along with the vehicle that had the evidence carried. So we brought it to counter last night, but due to the time, we were very late, so we didn't conduct additional search. So the one that the agent came across in the vehicle, we did a check, and it was like 99 packs. So we had it in our possession until this morning, so we decided to call the press to see how best they can do a coverage, live coverage, so that we can carry in the public so they can know. So while searching, this morning, we came across additional 200 packs, making it 299 packs of tramadol.
Yeah, so these are tramadol and other substances that you arrested. What is the LDA going to do with them?
So we have a custodian in Morovia. So what we're going to do, we're in touch with our bosses in Morovia. So Morovia will give us instruction. As soon as possible, we will take it to Morovia and then have it custodian.
Have listened to my colleague from also County, some of which I agree with him. I'd like to make it clear and we give God glory for our return. Mr. Presiding, our focus will be asking our colleagues to join us as before is to place even more premium on the labor ministry. The labor-related issue in this country is troubling. We need to look at it. We must be intentional about it. The labor minister increased work permit fees, which in his view was a solution to the issue we raised here, by the fact that the labor minister, instead of advertising jobs, vacancies, to allow Liberians, qualified Liberians,
Domestic there.
no, this is not domestic there. I'm not coming there yet. You know, so one day, the thing I can tell you, the consultation will be put in the microphone. I'm not using the microphone to campaign. I made it clear that 2029 is not in my sight. So what we must do here is for you not to be the laughing stock out there. We can create jobs and the executive give it out and then we're laughing and the poor insulting you every day. The labor minister gave out all the jobs. Imagine if you put 15,000 Liberians to work in the private sector. 500, 2,000, 300, 1,000, 10,000 Liberians get jobs in the private sector that we create. By the laws we pass, the concession we ratify. Imagine what will happen to the economy of this country. Imagine what will happen to the lives of our people. As we speak, presiding, I have good, credible information that cannot be disputed. That over 600 work permits just at B Mountain expired more than 3 months ago. And the people that are working on expired work permit. So most of them, they are drivers, plumbers, electricians. No Liberian. No Liberian. We cannot create the law, provide the environment, ratify concession agreements. And we said that the labor minister, in my view, sold the job for work permit. And we think we're supposed to be laughing. I will not. I'm not using the microphone to campaign for politics. Since 2024, all I know, I don't have time. I'm weak, sick. 2, Mr. President.
1 minute.
Yes, sir.
I heard on you know what to say.
Yeah. I don't have problem. You gotta have a hobby. Would you want government who can laugh? I got government who can laugh. I'm sick of it. FPRC has been existing on Article of Incorporation. When it comes for reform, that's what we hear.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Liberia. On today, 10282025. Today's Tuesday, and a pleasant welcome on today. This is the People's Program, and the program that brings you up to speed with major happenings in Liberia, Africa, and the rest of our one world. And don't forget, the geometry of the whole must be kept high on the agenda, because it involves the majority. And those who come with equity must come with clean hands. As usual on this People's Program, I am your humble servant, Ambassador J. Nathaniel Biva, just coming ambassador. I'm back in full swing. I'm here today from the production department with Sarkandu on the spectacular edition of the People's Program. You are asked to please listen in order to make a profound contribution on the program. We will not do business as usual. The dynamics, the conversation in Liberia must change. We should begin to hold those accountable for their actions. On today, 28th of October is gradually winding down. October 28, 1960, Liberia became the first black African nation elected to the United Nations Security Council. And it has happened again, a significant event during a period of growing African independence and the Cold War. This coincided with Liberia's role in a debate about African unity, with President William Todman advocating for regional organizations over a proposed large-scale political federations. The nation was also known as key players in the Cold War politics, receiving significant foreign investment from the United States during this time. This year play a pivotal role in Liberia history for the African community, where President William Todman engaged in discussions with other leaders, notably Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, about the future of African nations, while some like Nkrumah pushed for a unified continent-wide politics federation. Todman favored a more gradual approach of building regional organizations, a position that will utilize influence in the formation of the African or the Organization of African Unity in 1963. Today, August 28, that is October 28, 1950 today, Liberia political activist Dewo Tui left Liberia for the United States after announcing his candidacy for the presidency earlier that year. His departure marked a significant event in Liberian politics as he planned to seek support for his United People's Party amidst challenges to his candidacy. Dewo Tui announced his candidacy for the Liberia presidency in July 1950 on the United People's Party ticket. The departure from Liberia abroad, especially departing to the United States in October 1950, reportedly to rally support for a political campaign and to address what he viewed as injustice in the electoral process. Upon his return to Liberia in April 1951, and after engineering the merger of his party with the Reformation Party, he and other leaders faced charges of sedition, leading to their indictment. Today, October 28, 1980, Liberia was in the midst of the initial stages of military regime established by Master Sergeant Samuel Doe after his April 1980 coup d'etat. The new government, the People's Redemption Council (PRC), was solidifying its control after overthrowing President William R. Tolbert's administration. Doe suspended the constitution and established a military rule that marked the end of the American-Liberian dominance and began a period of internal power struggles and repression, with Doe plunging rivals into the first few months. Upon today, October 28, 2007, Liberia was focused on the post-war recovery, particularly economic rebuilding upon Ellen Johnson's Sirleaf administration. While facing ongoing challenges such as corruption and infrastructural reconstruction, the United Nations mission in Liberia continued its support for human rights and the justice system. Though major hurdles remain in these areas, significant development has occurred in all the ongoing international efforts to manage sanctions against individuals involved in the conflict. The embargo on timber support have been lifted, providing a new source of government revenue, and the economic still heavily rely on foreign aid and technical assistance. UNMIL supported an increase in trial of serious crimes like murder, rape, with high-profile corrupt cases involving former senior officials to be prosecuted. Good afternoon, good morning. Today's in History is a regular feature on our programs. We bring you history day-to-day basis, whether central or main alien, for your listening pleasure on this edition of the program. We say good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Today is the 20th